Hello.
Hi, Vishal.
Hi, Surya. How are you?
All good, all good. How are you?
I'm good. Can you hear me properly?
Yeah, you're audible.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, just give me a second. Okay. Uh, quickly walk me through a brief introduction of yourself and like all the tool stack that you had worked with earlier.
Okay. So, hi, Surya. Thanks for the opportunity. Uh, I have been into DevOps and cloud for around 5 years, and I majorly work with the deployment for the application, the end-to-end deployment of the application. In my recent role with Status New, my involvement was on the deployment part, but I was more on the security practices and the cost optimizations for the application and the infrastructure.
Okay. And what all tool stacks have you worked with?
Coming to tools, I have worked majorly with AWS and Azure, and a few couple of years with GCP as well. And for the application side, for the package management, I have worked with Docker, and for the container orchestration, I have worked on Kubernetes to deploy the applications in form of microservices and pods. Worked with Terraform to provision the infrastructure, written the TF modules for the cloud resources, maintaining the state files. Then worked with then worked with the managed cloud monitoring tool, which is the CloudWatch, CloudTrail, Azure Monitor, Application Insights, along with open source Prometheus and Grafana to scrape the metrics and create the dashboards from the raw data which we have. And security tools worked with checkmarks, Trivi, OWASP, and for code quality worked with SonarQube for the code quality gates. These are the tools on which I like peripherally works.
Okay. Okay, so let's go off in a structured manner. We'll start off with the cloud tier and then like move a drill down into the a pipeline part, and then we'll move on to the Docker and containerization.
Okay.
So in the cloud, you have mentioned that you have primarily worked with AWS, right? So could you briefly explain me the difference between AWS ALB and NLB?
Okay, so what's the difference is the app one is the application load balancer, the other one is the network layer load balancer. The ALB operates on the layer 7, whereas the which we have the network load balancers operates on the layer 4, which we have the transport layer. Application layer load balancer provides us the mechanism for the host based and the path based routing, whereas the in NLB which we have, it operates on the subnets level, where we want low to no, like minimum to low latency. We use a NLB, and for routing for the applications, hosting our applications, we generally use the ALB, where we have the API, like we have the past based routing configurations, where slash API or the slash app, like let's suppose for the any of the application with the host name as well, like as per the IPs and the DNS.
Okay, and what are the different protocols which operate in these two?
Okay, so in the layer 7 which we have the HTTP and the HTTPS, whereas in the network layer we have the TCP and the UDP.
Okay. Okay, so if I were to ask you to design a few cost optimization strategies for EC2 instances specifically, give me a few optimization strategies.
Okay, so like any of the particular requirements for the cost optimization or only for a single EC2 instances?
So I leave that to you. It's up to you. I need a few cost optimization strategies specific to EC2 instances, not the volume part, just the EC2 instances.
Okay, just a second, like a bit of noise from my end. So supposing my application is deployed on the EC2, let's suppose take a scenario of deploying of the application of any of the web server. Sorry. Initially, like I'll be having to scale my application, I'll be having the auto scaling group. So if in case the request count or as per the resources, CPU or RAM went.
Vishal, just a second. Your video is frozen.
Is it fine now? Like my net is it not working?
No, I don't. I can't see your video as such.
Are you able to see it now?
Yeah, yeah, better now.
Okay. So, like, let's suppose my application is deployed on the EC2 and we already implemented the auto scaling for the higher availability of the application. Let's suppose it if it goes beyond the threshold, so there will be horizontal scaling. So now what the like concern is for the cost optimization. Firstly, like in EC2 instance in AWS we are having the on-spot instances and the demand instances. So if my workload is not that much critical, I can use on-spot instances which are much higher, which are like very much cheaper than the on-demand instances which we have. Then coming to the more
Okay,
other,
quick question over here. Why are on-spot instances cheaper than on-demand instances?
like on spot instances are the rare or are the spare resources by the cloud provider here AWS, which are not being used, so they gives or they provide that particular servers cheap at a cheaper rate. But if in case their like AWS wants to take it back, so it can be like it that instance will be gone, so we have to use a mixture of spot instances or the demand instances to make the cost optimized and maintaining the workloads for the critical and the non-critical designated to the instances.
Okay. I think Vishal, again, there's some issue with your video.
Is it now good? Like,
Yeah, better now. Okay. Go on. Like, what are the like different classes that you might pick for spot and demand instances? If you have to go for specific instances based on application requirements, you were mentioning that, right?
okay, so let's suppose my application is having multiple microservices. Some will be like there will be two different. Let's suppose configure segregate into three parts: the DB side of the microservices, the front end, and then the back end. So I'll be like figuring out, or we can have a discussion with the devs or the QAs. What are the non-critical workloads that, like, if they are affected, we do not have any of the impact on the application or impact on the SLAs. We can segregate that particular instances or that particular workload to these spot instances. So if in case that particular microservice is or any of the particular application is a bit lag or like it went down, so we still do not have any of the impact. So I will be choosing
Okay.
that particular services to deploy on
See,
the.
give me a few compute classes that are present and like purpose of those compute classes. I'm sure you must have worked with a lot of compute classes, right? In EC2 instances.
Okay, like particularly the name like which we have the memory optimized CPU or highly optimized, like this one, or like we have the M5 large or the X6 large, that one.
So, what do you think is the distinguishing factor in these classes? How are the compute classes designed? Like, what's the distinguishing factors? So, you have the T class, you have the M class, you have the C class, right? What's the distinguishing factor between them?
Okay, so what's the distinguishing factor? Okay, like
So,
it
can I use T class instances in production?
like T class, not like, okay, I'm not particularly getting, but yep, T class should not be used as a production gate, because somewhere in the documentation it was not having the not higher burst rate. So if in case my traffic goes 10x, my EC2 that particular instance type won't be allowing us. Like it, T class is generally we use for any of the microservices or any of the stateless applications or the microservices.
Okay.
Yep. and like
Okay.
generally worked
Uh,
with the like which we have the C class, where my application was more of the compute optimized, where we were more on the CPU side. So I have majorly like figured out for the application according to the workload according to that particular class. So worked with the C class, like my application was more CPU centric.
hmm, okay. So let's say you are aware of Graviton instances, right? Within EC2,
Okay, like never.
Graviton based instances. Okay. Okay. So usually Graviton instances are actually cheaper than in the same C class instances, the Graviton based instances are cheaper.
Okay.
Okay. You mentioned that you haven't worked with Graviton instances, right?
So yep, like particularly with that C class instances.
Every series has a Graviton based instance as well.
Okay.
Okay, let's move on to the Linux tier. So, on a scale of 1 to 5, how comfortable are you with Linux?
Okay, will be rating myself 4 into Linux out of 5.
Okay, I'll give you a scenario. Let's say I'm getting an alert from one of my monitoring systems that file system is full in one of my EC2 instances. Okay, I need to figure out what file system is actually full and what file within the file system is causing it to be full. Can you list out like how you're going to go about troubleshooting this?
Okay, so like I'll be accessing into this particular server. I'll be particularly checking up with the df command, df hyphen h. There it will be showing up the mounts, all the directories which having the capacity used available details. There I'll be checking up particularly which file system is being occupied or being utilized. There I'll be using the du command, du, and will be sorting up for the files for the largest files flag, where I'll be checking up in that particular mount or the
Can you give me the
directory.
exact command?
Sorry.
Can you give me the exact command that you're going to use?
Okay, so df hyphen h I'll be using, and for the directory part I'll be using the du. Then I'll be using the like hyphen max depth one. Then like I'll be sorting it, like using sort and then hyphen h to list out the files which are larger, that will be appearing in the top. So there I'll be checking
What
out
does
the,
hyphen H stand for?
like hyphen h is like here it will be like the for the human readable format which we are using for the df hyphen h, and the du will along with the ending with hyphen h.
Okay, what other options are available apart from human readable?
In any of the commands.
In DU, you have mentioned in DU, right?
Okay, in du we have du hyphen s command which we have, then like have a hyphen h. Like these are the two commands I can check it, but like these are the commands I generally use in my scripts.
Okay,
And
what does hyphen S stand for? Like, what's the purpose?
like it's found gives the output for the subdirectories as well.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Let's say you have figured out that there's a particular file system and there's a particular file, say app.log. Okay. It's of size 200 gigabytes. Okay. You need to empty the file without actually deleting the file because there is a process lock on that particular file. How would you go about doing that?
Okay. Sorry, can you please come again? Like it's of 200 gigabytes.
Yeah. We have a file called app.log. So you have checked using the du-sh command. So you found out that there's a file called app.log. It's of size 200 gigabytes. How would you go about cleaning up this file without actually deleting it? Because if you delete it, there is a process lock which is there is a process which is actively writing into that file. So you don't want to delete it.
Okay.
It's not desirable.
Okay. So if it is any of the logs, so we should not delete any of the logs. What I'll
No,
be
we
doing,
have
like,
to empty the contents of the app.log file.
I can truncate it, like particularly truncate that particular file with the part using the truncate command.
Okay. Any other way that you can think of apart from truncate?
Okay. Any other way? Like I can use the redirection process and put the data to the dev.null, and then the file will be emptied as well. But this is not sort of I believe the production grade scenario where I'll be using, like, truncate will be the like ideal production grade step here.
Okay. Okay. Uh, so now we have understood that the app.log file has gone up to 200 gigabytes, right? So you don't want this scenario to occur in the future. You need to ensure that whenever the app.log size reaches around 3 gigabytes, you have to do a log rotation. So I want you to write a bash script to do a manual log rotation where, let's say, the size of app.log reaches 2 gigabytes. You have to basically zip or use any other compression methodology to create a backup file of the existing app.log file, and then you have to delete the app.log file and then recreate the new app.log file where the application will again start writing the logs. And now the other scenario is these backups will keep on piling up, right? So you need to delete any of the backup which is greater than 7 days old. So this is the scenario. You choose any language of your choice, like Python or Bash. Again, any editor of your choice. Share your screen and just give me the code for that.
Okay.
I hope you've understood my requirement, right?
Yep. Yep. Is my screen visible?
No, I can't see your screen.
Is it not visible? Okay. Is it visible now?
Yeah, it's visible now.
Okay. Okay. So the requirement is, like, we are having one app.log file. We have to do a log rotation, and using the, like, okay, what approach I'll be using? As soon as the file will be triggering, reaching out to the threshold limit, it will be creating the zip file or the tar file, and post the creation, it will be truncating the log file. So I'll be starting with the
Yeah.
bash. So I'll be starting with the shebang slash bin slash bag, and then we have the, like, let's suppose the log file. I'll be, like, putting up the app dot log. I'll be putting up the path particularly for this file. Then, okay, I can choose the directory as well. uh, Slash var. Okay. And then we can have the threshold max size. So it will be dollar 1024 into 024 into 1024. We have the bytes. Okay. Then timestamp, where I'll be saving the tar file with that particular timestamp. where it will be of date plus y. Okay.
Quick
Then
question over here. Like in variable assignment, can you give a space in bash?
sorry,
In variable assignment, can you use a space in bash?
no, like after the
Okay.
is equal to.
Yeah.
Nope, we cannot in bash, else script will be giving the syntactical error.
Okay.
Percentile m, then we have percentile d. Okay, then we have our minutes, small m, capital M, then seconds. Okay, okay, so file, we have one logic here. Checking file size. Here I'll be checking up the file size. So we'll be checking if the file is present or not. So if the log file is not present, uh, if the frog file is not present, if the log file is not present, it should throw an error first. Then we have echo log file does not exist. Then we have, okay, like it will be throwing the error particularly. And checking file, then we have checking file size. So if file size is dollar, okay, so we can use stat command. Like stat command gives the particular uh, size of the file where I'll be checking up, and what's the particular size of the file. uh, -c is the flag which we use for, okay, hyphen for the log file. Okay, okay, file timestamp, file size, okay. Then we'll be setting threshold or and rotating. So here, if file size dollar file size,
Like, okay, stat hyphen c log file. What does the output of that command?
I need to, like, can I check the terminal? Like, I have to use any of the particular symbols particularly to get the stored of the actual file size here. Like we
Sorry, what do you need to use?
like for this script, we not for this script, but for the particular value, like to remove any of the symbols or any of the alphabets, I'm not remembering, we use percentile s or percentile c to exactly get the file of the to exactly get the size of the file. Like let's suppose if it is 380 MB, let's suppose it is the 2 GB, so it will be showing 2. So that percentile, I like flag, it's still like percentile s or c, like I need to check it in the terminal. Can I check it, or like should I continue?
So percentile S, what does it give in gigabytes, or what's the output in?
Sorry.
What is the output of percentile S? I mean, does the size come out in gigabytes, megabytes? What's the unit?
That it's unit come hyphen s unit. uh, Hyphen s is
So when
30.
you ask for the size from the stat command, what's the units that are coming out? Will it come out in megabytes? Will it come out in gigabytes?
uh, in gigabytes I believe, because we were using for hyphen s. uh, like in gigabytes I need to check, but I'm pretty sure it's gigabyte.
I don't think it's in gigabytes.
Okay, like I need to then check it. I can check it in the terminal, but there is something sort of flag hyphen s or hyphen c to get it in the megabytes or in the gigabytes. Like I'm not remembering it particularly
Okay.
for this flag.
Okay. No worries. Uh, yeah, I got the snippet. So let's move on to the next part. Do you have any experience working with CI/CD tools?
Yes,
What tools did you work with?
I have majorly worked with Jenkins.
Okay. Write me a sample pipeline where you are checking. Let's say you're using Trivi. You need to write me a sample script where, let's say, if there are any critical level vulnerabilities in my Docker image, you need to stop the pipeline.
Okay. Like can you, like if we am having Trivi, okay, so
Mhm.
if my pipeline is having like sort of.
So you have built a Docker image. Okay. Now you're checking for vulnerabilities, security vulnerabilities, if there are any. So you're running the Trivi command, and let's say there are a few critical level vulnerabilities which are popping up. So again, vulnerabilities, you'll have different criteria, right? Critical, medium, high. So based on that, let's say if there are any critical level vulnerabilities, you need to stop the pipeline.
Okay, so like any skeleton pipeline or like the Trivi commands.
Just the snippet for me, Jenkins file. I mean, in the Jenkins file, how would
uh,
you handle this?
Agent, then we have environment stages, stage. Okay, so like I have mentioned the like checkout Docker build and Docker Trevi scan. Not mentioned the unit test and the build test. Like here.
Yeah, that's fine. I just need the Trevi scan stage. I want to see how you'll handle, like, let's say, if there are any critical level vulnerabilities, I want you to stop the pipeline. The checkout and Docker build is fine for me. You don't need to elaborate on the steps for that.
Sorry, can you like voice was breaking? Can you please come again?
So for the Trevi scan, just list out how you're going to handle the scenario where if there are any critical level vulnerabilities, you need to stop the pipeline.
Okay. Trevi scan. Okay. Trevi image. And then we have CV severity critical. Then we have exit code 1. Then okay, and then we have like tag. Okay, so like will this be like is this the required particular tag for the critical image?
Tag you can pick up dynamically, right? From the build.
Yeah, like tag. I mean, whatever the Docker build tag is, like it will be used here only, and if it is critical, it will be using that same tag and using the exit code 1. Like the pipeline will be aborted with the notifications.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on to the containerization part. So write me a sample Docker file for like any application of your choice, Node.js, Python. It's up to you.
Okay. Copy. Then we have run on 3. Then we have ex we will expose. Let's suppose 3000, and then we have the cmd. In that cmd we have app 5.3 app py. Yep, like I like this will be the skeleton of a simple Docker file for a.
Okay, how many image layers do you think will be formed when I build this image?
Sorry.
How many image layers will be formed when you build this image?
Single layer.
Are you sure on that?
Like layers. One will be the from. Okay, so if it is one layer will be for the OS. Then we have like the run, like layers particularly, right? We have layers created when the copy command is executed, the OS command.
Yeah, I want a number. I want a number.
One, two, three, three layers will be created, one with for the OS, one for the copy, and one for the run.
Why will the work directory not create a layer?
Because we are only setting up the directory with the path. We are not running any sort of the things in that directory. We have just have created the directory where all.
Okay, what's the conditional for forming layers?
Sorry, can you please come again?
What is the condition for forming layers in Docker?
Okay, so whenever we are like, if coming to the condition, like whenever we are configuring any of the things to the file system, here OS is related to the file system. Run commands execute the files which still have the files, executed file, sorry,
Okay,
file
so
system.
work
And
directory, yeah, are you saying that work directory slash app will not form anything on the OS layer?
it will be setting up some tags or metadata for setting up the work directory, but not the layer.
Okay.
Yep.
Work directory will form a layer. That's the answer to the question.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Let's say you have mentioned over here CMD Python 3 app.py, right? Similarly, I mentioned another CMD mentioning Python 3 app2.py. Okay, in the same Docker file. I write two CMD statements. What will happen? Will my Docker image build? If it will build, will my container run? If it will run, what command will run?
uh, if my Docker file is having multiple CMDs, the latest one, or if I say this will be run, because the CMD entered at the last or the latest will be executed, so it will be.
Okay. How about if it has multiple entry points?
Sorry.
So if my Docker file has multiple entry points, what about then?
Okay, so not okay, multiple entry points, CMD. Okay, so entry point is last used. Like once the container is created, it will be setting up or coming up with the CMD command. Entry point will be used as an argument, like whatever post commands or any sort. I can say it will be overridden by the CMD command here in the Docker file.
Okay. So you're saying that entry point is analogous to arguments and CMD is something which is fixed, right?
CMD, like it is the executable command for any of the Docker container to start, whereas the entry point, it gives the arguments particularly to that particular container to run.
Okay. So which of these two is overwritable?
Entry point, it overrides the CMD command.
Okay. Okay. Uh, let's move on to Terraform part. So let's say you're working in a very large organization and a lot of people are making changes to your Terraform script file. Okay. You need to ensure that at a time only one person can change the Terraform state file. And how would you go about doing this? I mean, achieving this?
Okay, so this like is a real issue when we are having multiple engineers working on the same Terraform module. Like we should be having the state locking mechanism, so that whenever one person is using, like we should be keeping our state file remotely in the backend, like can be the blob storage or the S3 which we have. Then whenever one person is working on that, and if another person is using any of the, like let's suppose Terraform refresh or the Terraform apply command, it will be not be showing, it will be showing up with the state locking error. So what does it do? Like DynamoDB blocks the state particularly as the state file is currently being used by one of the users. So like it provides the feature so that there should be no conflict should happen in that stage.
Okay. So let's say I have an EC2 instance, okay, which I have created using my Terraform. Okay. Uh, Now I go into the AWS portal and I create one more instance manually from the portal. Okay. I want to manage the state of this newly created instance also using Terraform. Is it possible? And if yes, how do you do that?
Okay. uh, I have instance created with Terraform. I have created one manual. I can go to the Terraform. I can check what is the exact instance I need to add. Then particularly with that, I'll be using the import command, Terraform import command for particular the EC2 instance, and again write that particular TF file for that. And using the Terraform refresh, I can again that state that EC2 instance will be managed by Terraform.
Okay. So let's say I have a VPC. Okay. I asked you to create an EC2 instance under that VPC using Terraform.
Okay. Yes.
Vishal, your video is frozen. Like I can't.
Can you see me now?
Yeah, yeah, better now.
Okay.
So we have two conditions over here. One of them is like you should. Let's just say that my VPC is also created using Terraform, and the other state is where my VPC is created manually. Okay. For both the scenarios, just create an EC2 instance using Terraform, and you need to leverage the same VPC.
Okay. So if
So
sorry.
go ahead, go ahead.
Okay. So can you please come again? Like I got one scenario where I have to like use it. Can you please come again?
So I have a VPC already created. Okay. So I'm asking you to create an EC2 instance under the same VPC using Terraform. We have two scenarios here. First case is I've created the VPC manually, and the other scenario is where I've created the VPC also using Terraform.
Like I have to tell you, I have to write the script.
Yeah, but just give me the script, Terraform script for this.
I have to write, right?
Yeah. Just share your screen and any editor of it.
Okay. Provider we have AWS. Region. And we have okay existing VPC. Then we have resource RESO, resource AWS VPC, and I have main CIDR log is equal to subnetting existing VPC resource AWS let's change it name subnet one. Okay, so in subnet one I'll be having VPC VPC ID कहाँ से आएगी? I can get it from outputs of VPC not ID. Then we have VPC ID हो गया CID of block is equal to again as per defined. Suppose it is /16. So here I can do /24. Then we have AVL, LT zone as per defined. Then we have EC2 creation resource US instance AWS instance. Here having EC2. Okay. AMIs for the instance type. Then we have the subnet ID. Subnet ID, how it's defined. AWS subnet. Subnet. Not subnet one. Dot ID. Okay, then I can use tags. Okay, so like this is how I'll be creating the instance. Like surely I will be not using this in the production level. I'll be using a modular approach, but here I'll be having the provider as AWS region, like as defined. We can use any of the regions, US Central or AP, like any of the region. Then we already have the
So this is for existing VPC.
yes.
Okay. So for existing VPC, why are you creating a resource block again? VPC is already existent, right?
Yes.
So you need to just create an EC2 instance in that VPC. So why are you using the resource block for that?
Like to refer that particular VPC, I'll be using it.
Resource block is used to create a new VPC rather than leverage the existing one.
Like I'll be choosing it particularly for the data source where I can check, I can get the VPC endpoints. Like we have the VPC endpoints, like we have the outputs like the subnets IDs, VPC IDs. Like this, for this I will be using to same like to call it here.
Okay. Okay, Vishal, I think that's it from my end. Like, if you have anything for me, please feel free to ask.
Thanks, Surya. Thanks for interviewing. Like, may I know like what exactly is the requirement for this role, and following up with the feedback, like how I did it, and like what can be the improvements.
Feedback